Hi, I'm Dana. Welcome to this week's question. It comes from Rocky, and he writes, "We have a beautiful 12-month-old girl, and she sleeps great if she's in bed with us. Now that she's active and mobile, it's hard for us to get a good night's sleep with her in our bed. We've tried putting her in the crib, but she'll just cry and scream. And if she does fall asleep, she'll wake up an hour later and start crying all over again. She won't let us put her in the crib, and she wants us to hold her if we don't take her to bed with us. She's very much a cuddle bug, and she just really wants to sleep with us. Can you help?" Yeah, I can. This is a good question, Rocky, and a lot of people are in the same boat. It's okay when you've got a baby who's not moving around too much. Then most people find they can get a relatively good night's sleep with a baby in their bed. But once they hit the toddler mark, it's pretty tough. Even a really great sleeping toddler is very active. They do lots of moving and rolling around, changing position, and so I can understand why it's getting to be a struggle. And now, to be fair to her, she's spent the last 12 months sleeping with people, and so it's going to be a transition to sleep without people, especially her two favorite people. But it's definitely doable, and I'm going to suggest an approach that is as gentle as possible, but like I've always said, making changes to anyone's sleep environment or habits, adults included, would always be met with protest because we're very habitual about our nighttime environment and our sleep habits, and we don't like a lot of changes or surprises to them. And so it's definitely going to be a bit of a transition for your daughter to get used to the idea of sleeping on her own. I know in your question you wondered if maybe you should bring the crib to your room, and that might make it easier for her. I don't think you should. I think you should leave the crib in her room. If that's where you want her to be, I always say start out where you want to be. If you want her in her own room, in her own crib, then that's where you should start. Okay? So I always say it starts with bedtime and it starts with the routine. So given her age, you haven't really said when you try for bedtime or if she's napping during the day, but she should be taking 2, possibly 1 nap during the day and then going to bed, roughly between 7 and 7:30 p.m. And so I would do a routine prior, about a half-hour routine. A good example of one that I like is starting with a bath, then getting pajamas on, then maybe having a drink of milk in a sippy cup, or reading stories together, and then brushing teeth and going to bed. And it should be in the same order every night, so she's got time to get used to the idea that she's going to sleep for the night. It gets our brain and our bodies in line so that we're making that transition from day into night. And then one of you take her to her crib and put her in the crib, and then what I suggest you do is bring in a chair, sit right beside the crib. She's probably going to stand up right away and wonder what's going on here. And she might start crying right away, and just be supportive. Okay, so pick a key phrase like it's sleepy time now, or it's nighty night, or daddy's here, or mommy's here. Try lying her down a few times. Don't get into a battle of wills over laying down though, because that's usually a battle that you can't win. So if you've tried a few times and she just won't stay down, then let her stand. I mean, she's really has not spent much time in her crib, and so let her explore, walk around. If she's looking a little weary, you could try again to lie her down and tell her it's sleepy time. If she gets back up, don't worry, just let it go. A lot of children who are put to sleep, and then if they're rocked to sleep, for example, and then put in the crib, they haven't even really figured out yet on their own that you do need to lay down to sleep. You need to get into comfy positions, and that's how sleep comes. So you might even find her starting to nod off a little in the sitting or standing position, and then just try lying her down again if you notice that's happening. I wouldn't take her out of the crib. I think because of her age, and it sounds like you've kind of already tried taking her out, it's just too hard on both parent and baby. I mean, you take her out of the crib, she's probably thinking, "Ooh, thank you, now I'm going to bed with you." And when you don't do that, and you just she realizes that that's not really an option anymore, it just tends to fuel the fire. She's thinking she won and you're saying no, and that can just aggravate the child even further. So no taking her out of the crib. If you want to give her, some hugs over the bar, or hold her hand, or pat her back, those are okay things to do just for comfort. You don't want to rub her to sleep though, or you're going to have a whole bunch of new problems down the road when you want to get out of the room. So just make your touch intermittent and very careful that you're not actually lulling her to sleep. Now the first couple of nights are always the toughest, so you can lay it on a little thicker those first few nights. If it kind of felt like maybe you were holding hands when she drifted off, it's okay. But you want to keep moving with the plan. So it's all outlined in the book in the Stay in the Room method. 3 nights right by the crib, 3 nights just away a little, maybe the middle of the room, 3 nights by the door, and then you should be able to at least get sort of just outside of the door or completely out of the room altogether. I suggest you take turns with your partner, because you do want her to know that this is going to be the routine no matter who's in charge of bedtime. And for any night wakings, I suggest you handle them exactly the same way. So, one of you go in, sit down beside her, be comforting, be supportive, don't take her out of the crib, and really hang in there until she's back to sleep in the crib. Now I know, she's pushing into the toddler years, and toddlers have unbelievable willpower and stamina. And so, you're going to be facing an uphill battle for sure for at least the first couple of nights. She's going to want to be in your bed, and she's going to really try hard to do things to get you to do that, especially if you've tried something like this before. She's going to remember, oh yeah, they did this one other time and I did this and that ended it. So you've got to know that she's going to really try hard to get into your bed, because that's what she wants, that's what she's used to. Okay, but this, at least she knows you're close, your presence is there, your support and love is there, but she has to learn a new skill right now, which is getting herself to sleep without a parent. And it's going to take a few nights, a week, for her to learn these things. Give her a lovey of some kind, a stuffed teddy, or any kind of little toy, or a blanket, a soft small blanket that she might use to cuddle, and she'll probably form an attachment to one or the other. But it's definitely, I want to stress that it sounds like from your question you're feeling a little hopeless about it all, and it's not hopeless. It's definitely something that can be done. It's just going to take some work on everyone's part. So thanks a lot, Rocky, for your question, and sleep well.